So good morning, everybody, and welcome to the first day of the traditional technical academy organized by Zebra Systems. My name is Nebojša Stankic, and I will be your host today. I'm regional manager for Adriatic region at Zebra Systems, value-add distributor for security and backup solutions, originally from Czech Republic, but with a nice impact in Slovakia and Adriatic region as well. So on first several rules, session will be recorded and available after the event. Your questions are welcome during and after the event, and it is possible to try easily all the solution we are mentioning and get the all necessary help. This academy is 2-day event, and we have two separate, I would say, topics which we will share with you. So first day is day dedicated to MSP vendors and their angle of view, and second day is enterprise day. We will see later. So on the first day we will have 3 vendors we are representing in the region. First one is Acronis, and they will present EDR solution, then Enable with their main topic they want to share with us, as well as GFI software, which will have a presentation at the end. So, and on second day, we will have EST and Cloudflare. So I just wanted to start with a few slides, which are I and a few ideas I have in mind in this moment, just as some introduction of moment we are here. So talking about security, talking about society and this moment we are in. We can definitely say that digital transformation and remote work are topics which are affecting a lot of people, organizations, governmental institutions, contractors, everybody. So all this process of digital transformation is about using technology to make our lives more enjoyable, convenient, and it's a great, it's a lot of different opportunities, possibilities, which we are able to use. But we should be aware of all potential traps and taking proactive measures to maximize benefits of digital transformation and not to stuck in it. So all those changes are also associated with risk. And our position of security companies is in this moment, I would say, very important for all the society, to allow all the society to move from traditional to digital, and easily to be accessible and to normal people, and to help them be live better and live in secure digital world. What we can see is that all the tools are modernizing, and through human history, everything is related to progress, but also there is a lot of struggle in it. Army, police, law, forces are mechanisms of protection 2,000 to 3,000 years old, and they're constantly improving. But in this moment, seems that we are a little bit slow in implementing security procedures in IT, which is main engine for society improvement. So think about your role in it. Think how we can do easily and what we can do. So one of IT challenges is to explain easily transformation. Having in mind this previous slide, that the Trojan horse is not that young as a type, as idea and type. Also, MSP as a business model in IT is not young. So we know services like a telecom. We are paying telecom bills per user. We are paying electricity. So all those things we are using for decades, and people somehow still avoid MSP to implement and to offer and to accept as a model. So from that perspective, I'm asking you to be to find a way to explain your customers that there is nothing new, but some simple way. So it's a very important to explain to communicate with your customers simply, and it's very important for us, for IT, to evolve together with society, but with careful planning, investment in right tools, knowledge, and infrastructure. It's a key to make that step. So first step is to try to understand better MSP and to make clear to your customer what is good for them in it. So first speaker is Mr. Boris Kazako, solution engineer at Acronis, and he will tell us a little bit more about Acronis's latest achievement, EDR, and how to do it simply. So that was what I meant to share to you, and I will give speaker's rights to Mr. Kazako. Just a moment.
Hey there. I think I do have the option to share my screen now,
Okay.
and well, that should be enough to get us started. So, hello everyone. Nice to see all of you here. Just as we discussed literally a second ago, my name is Boris, and I am from Acronis. And yes, it does rhyme a bit. I am a solution engineer here, and I would like to tell you about EDR as an approach in our product, as well as some general ideas and information, because I do believe that in our modern day and age, the approach to security that some of our partners and colleagues utilize is indeed a tiny bit outdated. Not because it is a failure of some individuals or anything like that. It's just because it's usually impossible to keep up, and that is actually very well coincides very well with what I was with what Nebojša was saying about the fact that some security methods are thousands of years old, and this story of trying to protect your data and your security is essentially as old as time. In the very top, you can see that there is a quote. Now here you see it takes all the running you can do to keep in the same place. It's a quote from Lewis Carroll's Alice in Wonderland, and this is a moment when the Red Queen tells Alice that she will not be able to get anywhere if she runs at this pace. because no matter how fast she runs, she will always be staying exactly where she is. This quote is utilized in evolutionary biology to explain why all species are constantly evolving. Because if they stop evolving, if they stop reacting to outside threats such as climate change or other species that are evolving, if they stop for 1 second, they're gone. Sometimes they are gone even if they don't stop, unfortunately. But if they stop, it's going to be too late. And same approach can be utilized in security as well. Because we, as people who want to provide quality services and ensure that our customers and partners have their peace of mind and they're not bothered with different threats with the so that they can work on their business, we cannot stop for a single second. And on this slide, there are some general ideas that, and a few numbers that explain why we should always be on alert and we should always be acting. So probably the most straightforward one is the right part, the compliance aspect. Because if you're not compliant for even a few days, the customer is going to get into a lot of trouble. If you get a breach, as you can see here in the middle, a breach is essentially inevitable because every single customer, every single company is getting attacked. You will get attacked. The question is, are you prepared to get attacked? Do you have all the backups done? Do you have all the security set up in advance? Because if you stop with your preparation, if you stop with the protection, you just need to wait a few days and you will get exactly the results that were coming your way. And of course, with the complexity of the attacks growing, uh, we need more advanced tools to combat advanced attacks. We still need the good old trusted old backup and antivirus to combat existing threats that are out there all the time. But unfortunately, if a person really wants to give you a bad day, they will do it in a more sophisticated way. And a regular approach will not be able to solve it, unfortunately. And that is exactly why we believe that EDR solution and general usage of artificial intelligence is necessary in the security landscape nowadays because AI gives you a lot more tools and enables you to manage a lot of your security infrastructure in a way that wasn't possible before. We in Acronis believe that only proactive, active, and reactive approach to security will ensure, well, the safety of you and your customers. In a proactive approach, we mean that you need to do everything in your way, in well, anything that you're capable of to ensure that the bad days don't come, such as making a backups and patching your devices and setting up disaster recovery. Active approach is dedicated to stopping the attack in place, such as constantly scanning the environment for malware or killing an encryption process that tries uh, to bring down your whole environment. And of course, there is also reactive approach that means that after the attack has happened and you successfully stopped it, you need to react to it and make sure it doesn't repeat. That's why you want to update your internal security policies, collect some evidence on the attack, and recover all affected data. And after this loop repeats because unfortunately, our business is never finished. Well, from a business standpoint, that's not such a bad way, but yeah, sadly, people will always try to make your day worse. And this is exactly why EDR is why we're happy to show you and present EDR to you. The idea of this solution is that it is um, it is a very comprehensive way of analyzing an attack and responding to it. Plus, it is also very nicely integrated into our portfolio of other services. It's still going to be performed by the same agent on the same endpoint, and our EDR solution incorporates quite a few of the technologies we are already using. So you will have a very quick and nice way to respond to whatever attack that fell upon your customer. So as you can see on this slide, there is quite a lot of information provided, but the most important ones are these three columns. So the first one says that our EDR is optimized for threat detection and prioritization. The nice thing here is that it's not only very easy to understand and um, translate to your customers and explain what exactly happened. It is also aligned with a few frameworks, most notably MITRE ATT&CK in this case, that allows you to understand the attack and interpret it in a very easy to digest form so that even you or your customer will understand what was happening. It is also integrated with backup and recovery, and that is something that I mentioned with being a part of our full stack portfolio. From the very same window, after the incident is mitigated and you have understand what the attack has done, you can also recover the data, the affected data, without the need to click anywhere or waste any time. So the response is as quick as you can do it. Essentially, all you need to do to mitigate the attack is to just open the window and you're good to go. And of course, it is performed by the same single agent, so there is no additional installation required. If your customer understands they need to have an EDR enabled on all their workloads, you just flip a switch, the agent automatically updates. Your solution is easy to deploy and easy to manage this way. So the our logic with EDR was to make sure that uh, you can um, you can use this highly advanced technology to battle all the most complex attacks. Because over here you can see on the left there is quite a lot of detection and protection technologies that can work with different types of attacks, such as phishing or known viruses, or some types of polymorphic malware that tries to pretend to be different programs. All of this can be analyzed and battled with existing technology, although the further on the graph you go, the harder it gets. But however, only EDR and other types of detection and response services can battle zero-day exploits and different elusive threats, because these will require such attacks require a combinational approach. They require a solution that's more than just a sum of its parts. So that's why it was a logical and natural extension to our capabilities in our portfolio. So some general idea about EDR and the way it can help your customer. The first thing over here you can see is detect and block attack before breach. The beauty of EDR is that in a properly set up environment, not only does it allow you to respond to an attack, but it allows you to make sure that the attack never damages your system in the first place. You can you can monitor and correlate different events through the endpoints via a reporting system. You can block existing and, well, usual threats with the new generation antivirus. And of course, new threats will be analyzed in minutes, and as such, you will be able to respond before any real damage is done. And that is actually the second option. Even if an attack happens and it somehow got past your security, you have business continuity with integrated recovery that allows you to restore from backup. You have the ability to reduce the impact by quarantining the workloads, updating your security definitions, and of course, after all is done, you can update all your endpoints and make sure that the attack surface is limited, because the previously existing hole is already patched and it doesn't exist anymore. And of course, last but not least, a very nice way to enable compliance by providing very vast incident reports on to your customers, classifying different types of sensitive data, making sure that nothing that shouldn't go away and leave the customer's premises doesn't do it. And you can also collect different forensic data for the analysis in the future. Now, one last thing about the theory of EDR that I want to point out is that um, a true EDR solution does need to be able to do all the things listed in here, and it's not my idea. It is this things come straight from National Institute of Standards and Technology, NIST. So um, yeah, just for your information, I want to point out that a true EDR should be able to identify a possible threat. This can be done by software and hardware inventory or discovering unprotected endpoints. Uh, and by coincidence, these are all the things that we can do. But as you can imagine, I wouldn't set up a presentation showing what we can. So, yeah, in any case, an EDR solution should identify the attack surface and be able to work with it. It should be able to protect it statically, like make a backup, scan the malware, analyze any vulnerabilities, provide patch management, and be able to work with backups. This is something that is necessary to ensure the security, and this is how in our portfolio we protect your data. There are a lot of ways to enable static protection, but in case something goes wrong, there are even more ways to detect an ongoing attack through URL filtering or anti-malware and ransomware, as well as exploit prevention and additional options of email security. All of this is going to be integrated into a single stack. And as such, after the attack is detected through many different channels, you can respond to the attack, either by working directly with the file that caused the attack, or the workload that was affected, or all together. Doesn't really matter. There are many ways to work with it. And last but not least, you might want to recover from the attack. And this is exactly where the disaster recovery and backup integration comes in, as well as updated security definitions after the attack has happened. So, um, some general idea about our technology and explanation why Acronis and EDR does what it does and how it falls into our stack. Um, Over here, you can see a few bullet points. The first one is that it's provisioned via a single agent. I already mentioned it. Since our idea was that, since the agent is already installed on the since the agent is already installed on the endpoint, we might as well ask it to do a bit more than the backup. And that is exactly why EDR is working as fine as it does, because it's only going to be a single program that does all the analysis. There is no additional syncing or additional resource drain on the endpoint. And that is why we can do our response very quickly. And on top of it, we are also utilizing a lot of our own and third-party programs to ensure the security and security about the existing attacks, as well as information about an upcoming threat. So you are prepared for not only something that will come, but also only on a few possibilities. Another interesting aspect to our EDR solution is the way we let you analyze the attack and understand what was going on. As I mentioned, we are integrated with NIST and MITRE ATT&CK framework, and the beauty of it is that our artificial intelligence provides you easy to digest information. We don't only show you the visual graph that is sometimes difficult to analyze, but we also interpret the attack in an easy to understand English language with the links to the specific files or processes that were happening. And each of these will have a link to MITRE ATT&CK framework that will exactly explain, like it. I will show it in demonstration in a few minutes, but essentially every single file or attack pattern.
Okay. Seems that we cannot hear you, Boris. Boris, live events get in that situation from time to time. So let's see. is that is the slide that you shared last, and at that moment we lost
All
sound
right.
from your side. So
Okay. Yeah, sorry for that. Just as I said, my Zoom just decided to stop working. Sometimes it happens. So yeah, back to this slide. Of course, the connection cut out on the most, or on probably the most important slide and the most interesting one. So let's just have another look at it. Uh, so just as I said, the idea of our EDR solution is to make it as time to make it as accessible as possible, and to make the analysis of an attack take as little time as possible. So as I mentioned before, our artificial intelligence provides you with a visual graph with a legend that tells you the scope of the attack that is very easy to read from the get-go, and an interpretation of the attack plus links to MITRE ATT&CK framework. So essentially, you have multiple different ways to understand what was happening, why the attack did what it did, like why the malicious software tried to encrypt your data, where it came from, what was the trigger for the attack, and things like that. Um, in fact, some of our customers were able to investigate their attacks just from the get-go without even needing to make any additional steps. So I'm going to demonstrate it in a minute, but essentially it's a very powerful tool that reduces the workload that you, as a service provider, would need to spend. So last but not least, I also want to point out that there is a way to stop the breach and ensure business continuity in just a few clicks. There is a very granular approach to the response, but if you feel like doing things quickly and half automatically, this is also something that is integrated with the artificial intelligence. We just let you know if something went wrong, what type of attack happened, and what can be quickly done to remediate it. If you feel like analyzing the attack step by step and individually responding to specific points, it can be done. But if you want to do it quickly and provide the remediation as soon as possible, that is also an option, uh, and you can do it just in a few clicks. I will show it in a demonstration that will be coming very soon. But last thing that I want to point out is some additional threat intelligence that is going to be coming to your console from our Cyber Protect operating centers. We have a few of them around the world, and the idea is to just give the threat feed a look every day or twice a day, because we'll be providing information relevant to your region, such as an upcoming rainstorm, for example, or an existing vulnerability that was detected on the systems that you're utilizing, or maybe an active hacker group that is doing some maliciousness in the region, so that you would be able to respond to it. So as you can see, we empower you to prevent the threat and prevent the attack even before it happens. Just a nice thing that is always included and is always on. I understand that some of our partners are not aware of this, or they are not really utilizing it. Just give it a look when you have a chance. There might be some very interesting information for you that will be useful to you or your customer, ideally both. All right, so demonstration time. A very nice slide. So let me stop the screen sharing, pick the correct window that I'm going to use for demonstration, and reshare my screen again. Um, Yeah, over here. So I jumped into the console with the EDR protection already in view. Essentially, as you can see, this is the backlog of all of the incidents that our poor demo environment has gone through. And in our case, the backlog is pretty extensive, so you will have access to all types of attacks that have recently happened. But I do believe that some of my colleagues did clean it up recently, so that's why it's only up to June. But essentially, we're storing it for more than 90 days. I believe until it's manually cleaned, it's going to be present. So it is very nice, like a very easy way to investigate whatever was happening. So Let's pick probably this one, 23rd incident, and have a look at exactly what was happening and well, what was happening and what the uh, how the incident investigation happens in our software. The first thing you can see here is some general information about the incident. Threat status, whether or not it is mitigated. Usually we can battle pretty much everything on our own, and very rarely we need your input from your side as a person. Usually it revolves around updating different definitions or recovering lost data if something was unrestorable. But in the vast majority of options, as you can see here, you will see that a threat is mitigated. Of course, mitigation is done automatically depending on the settings that you specified for this specific group of agents. For those unaware, we use protection plans as a sort of instruction for the agents. And the nice thing is that we have multiple different functions enabled in there. And if you turn EDR, you can essentially like cover an unlimited amount of machines with the specific protection plan that has EDR. So that's why I will be referring to different terminology. I want to make sure that we are on the same page. The next step here is positivity level with a little I point here. This is exactly where integration with MitraTag framework comes in. This is our AI component identifying and making sure that this is not a false positive. In our case, it was not a false positive, but it is an 8 out of 10 due to the processes involved in the attack. I will show it in a second. And of course, later over here, you can have an investigation state, whether you have manually started the investigation, not started, marked it as closed, or a false positive. So it's for your internal tracking. And of course, if you have multiple people working with the same customer, you can assign a person to work on this incident and make any remarks. And there is also some information about the workload that was affected. Regarding the attack itself, this is also the integration with Mitra Attack Framework that I was referring to. For example, you can click on the collection tab, and it will redirect you to the website telling you what exactly collection is about, when it can be used, and what can be the tactics. Sometimes, in our case, collection via key logging is pretty straightforward what exactly was happening, but sometimes an attack tries to obfuscate its scripts, hide the hide its actions behind some other types of actions and things like that. So utilizing Mitra Attack Framework may help you understand the real idea and the real culprit behind the attack. For example, if you see that somebody logged onto the workstation, triggered the attack by double-clicking an exe file, and then this exe file tried to connect to network and copy different types of files to different types of servers, it's you analyze this with using this you analyze it in the attack info, and it very quickly becomes clear that somebody was trying to extract information from the customer. So this is the power that you can bring to your customers who don't have time to look through code or go through complex analysis. I mean, they just were attacked. They have other stuff on their mind. You just show it to them, explain it in a very easy to digest way, and they're good to go. So now let's hop into the Investigate Incident tab and see what we can provide in terms of, well, incident investigation. The first thing over here that you can see is the visual graph that represents the all the different types of files that were attacked, and essentially just lists everything that was involved. Of course, it might be kind of difficult to analyze because, well, in our case, over here on the legend, you can see that there were a total of 842 files involved. It will take pretty much forever to do it manually to understand what was happening. And well, the first thing that I want to point out actually is the legend. that lets you understand the severity of the process. While it did affect 842 files, which is definitely not a small amount, at the end we can see that there was only one workload affected, which means that it's actually not such a bad thing. It was a single endpoint exposed as opposed to a whole network. And you can also notice that there were a few network processes involved, and you can enable them or hide them. So in our case, you can quickly see all the network that was happening and analyze it individually. I also want to point out the AI interpretation into native English language. Um, Over here, you can see that different types of attacks correspond to different types of processes. And this is why EDR and AI together makes your life so much easier because PowerShell.exe, as we all know, PowerShell is not a malicious thing in of itself. It's just one of the tools that is used in Windows systems. But we noticed that PowerShell is being used for different types of activities that together match a pattern of key logging software. And indeed, it was a key logging software. Over here, you can see that it was started by a few exes. So over here, you can see that the impact that PowerShell was doing is to was trying to delete or remove some operating system data and turn off services dedicated to recovery. So it was preparing a surface for the attack, making sure you could not recover from it quickly. And of course, then there was a collection of the data and additional steps taken at disabling the system step by step by step. And there is a second breakdown, breakdown by seconds. As you can see, it took us about what we started at 2, we finished at 18, about 15 seconds to notice the attack and stop it. But even if the attack took 16 seconds, it still was able to affect 800 files. So as you can imagine, doing something like this manually or with less sophisticated technology could lead to way, way worse results. So this is also something of a very nice thing to demonstrate to your customer to explain why they do need this advanced security. Unfortunately, as we all know, uh, a lot of people understand the value of something as straightforward as a backup only when half of their system is down and only the actual data comes is from back from 2018. All people understand that antivirus is valuable only when their system is attacked and their like half of their office is infected with trojans that need to be manually removed, and it goes on and on. So it is a nice thing to enable this prevention and just explain, demonstrate it as an example, and tell that without this, things are going to get a lot worse. So after we have analyzed the attack, we understand the steps that the software was taking, we might want to mitigate it. In our case, it is already automatically mitigated, but we might want to take some additional steps. In our case, different response actions are going to be available for different processes, and well, you can call them nodes in this graph. For a workstation, we can launch an investigation of the attack. So we can make a forensic backup that is forensic backup for those unaware is a backup when we collect not only full sectors of the disk, but we also collect info from empty sectors. We back them up to make sure that in case there are any traces left, we will be able to analyze them. So it's going to be larger in size, but it is going to have all the information possible from the system. And on top of this, if you want to like experience the attack firsthand, you can connect via RTP or via web client to this particular workload to maybe do some manual changes or just see how things are. So after you've investigated the attack by making a backup and checking the things out yourself, the next step is to make sure that it doesn't go any further. You can manage network isolation. It is possible to isolate a single workload by, and the logic here is, of course, we cut off all connections, but the connection from our console to the agent, because we still want to reach out to We still want to reach out to the endpoint. Um, yeah, and if you feel like letting the person logged on know, you can provide a message for them as well. Or alternatively, you can restart your workload. It can be done with a message and a timeout as well. Uh, as I said, since our agent that is since the agent that can do URL filtering is already installed, why not utilize it? And the next steps are to ensure recovery. If it's not a mission critical workload, you can just pick a recovery point and recover from the infect from the backup. And I want to point out that our backups are scanned for malware, both when they are backed up to cloud and when you're restoring them. So even if something was dormant in the backup archive, you are not going to recover an already infected data. That's so this is secure this way. Or if we're talking about mission critical machines, you can set up a disaster recovery failover straight from here. Disaster recovery works as a tool to provide full business continuity. Essentially, it is a replica of the original machine that is spun up in our data centers. It mimics the connection settings, MAC address, IP address, even the hardware is going to be identical to the original setup. So the virtual machine will be this virtual machine can be utilized as a way to ensure that that the business continuity is preserved. Some of our customers and colleagues, and frankly myself, like to call it Indiana Jonesing, like that scene from the Raiders of the Lost Ark when he took the golden idol and swapped it with the sandbag. Essentially, that's the process. We just switch it out and make sure that nobody notices a thing. It didn't work that well for Indy, but there's been a lot of technological advance from that. And last thing that you can do is to prevent a follow-up exploitation of a hole. So you've recovered the data, you ensured that everything's fine, you restarted and isolated the workload, you have collected all the data, uh, everything is all right for this particular machine. Last step is to patch it, which is in our case is grayed out because the machine is already patched. So this is pretty much everything that we can do for this workload. As you can see, very in-depth, very granular in terms of response actions. And as I mentioned, the agent is already installed. It might as well do some options, some additional stuff. So this is the power of integration and usage of a single stack solution because you can see here, backup is available from the same spot. Disaster recovery and desktop connection are available from the same spot, from the same point. This is a very nice thing to have, especially when we're not talking about a testing environment that is fully controlled but when we're talking about a real attack. The precious seconds and minutes that would have been wasted on utilizing um, different tools and jumping between them, ensuring that they're all integrated, all is done in the same place. And honestly, I just enjoy demonstrating it every time it happens because it's currently EDR is like a crowning jewel in our portfolio that combines all of our security all together. Um, so just want to point out that we have different response actions for different nodes. So in our case, let's pick up PowerShell over here. And you can see that straight from the overview, you get some more information because there is more info to extract. There is additional stuff to analyze in here in the setup and in the some uh, some hashes and IDs of the software, which, well, I have to be fair, with PowerShell might not be that necessary, but can be useful for analyzing different types of malware. Over here, if any scripted activities were performed, we are going to present them here for further analysis. If the script was obfuscated or masked somehow, we will visualize it in here and explain it in the best possible way. So as you can see, everything is visual understandable and easy to read through. And of course, there are different response options. depending on the types of processes. So some of options can sometimes processes can be deleted, quarantined, or we can roll back the changes that have happened. Usually, in our case, everything was done automatically, so there is no manual input required. But if it was some additional malware or the attack was still ongoing, you could just outright delete PowerShell from your PC. Of course, that is a bit of an extreme measure, but honestly, in some attacks, it's just easier to delete half of the machine to ensure that nothing bad happens. And of course, prevention adds you to work with allow lists and block lists, and they can be used for the protection plan. So, as I mentioned, protection plan is a set of instructions for the agents, and this way, if a single machine was attacked and you have a new type of malware or a process that should be added to an allow list or a block list, you can add it to not only to this particular workstation, but to the entire protection plan, and as such, ensure that all your security definitions are updated throughout the company completely. And one last thing that I want to show you on this particular slide is the button to remediate the entire incident. This is also some artificial intelligence shenanigans involved, and this is exactly as I said. We analyze the threat, we perform some things automatically, and if you want to make to be over with it as soon as possible, you can do it this way. We'll offer you options to remediate the incident and close it in just a few clicks. First of all, you can mark it as a true positive or a false positive for further statistic collection. And then stop threats, we already did it automatically. Quarantine, whether or not you would like to put all the files into a quarantine and then later delete them. And step three, would you like to roll back the changes that were performed on the files, or if you want to just recover the workload? So I don't really know how. Well, yeah, there are a total of 4 files that were affected over here. If you want, we can recover them from the backup granularly, or alternatively, you can um, just recover the whole machine. And last but not least, would you like to add the threats from the incident to a block list? Would you like to patch the workload? Would you like to change the investigation state? So we can just patch the workload, change it. Well, yeah, in our case, the workload is patched, so it gives an alert. And you mark everything, you just click the remediate button, and it's done. As you can see, if you want it to happen quickly, you can make your investigation and remediation of the attack take less than a minute. Just click in a few places and you're done. And that would be pretty much it for our EDR solution. Of course, as you can imagine, I can keep on going and explaining why it's a nice thing. But at the end of the day, the probably the main takeaway that I would like to show here is that a lot of companies are using artificial intelligence just as a buzzword, but for us in the cybersecurity business, we should realize that AI is going to be used for malicious attacks. A lot of code is being written with ChatGPT. A lot of phishing emails are being done this way. It's already automated. The cyber criminals are speeding up really fast. And solutions such as our Acronis endpoint detection and response that incorporates a ton of security features in one, and other things like that. They also leverage artificial intelligence, and I strongly suggest you to give it a look. It's not only about using Acronis directly. I mean, I would appreciate that, but the main idea is that if you stop, if you stop evolving, you are already at risk. You are at risk at all the time, but if you don't adopt the new technologies, they are gonna this is going to bite you back sooner or later. And with the rate it's evolving, it's going to happen sooner. So that's why I wanted to show you the complexity and all the different clicks that you can do. But in reality, with our solution, if you don't want it, the whole remediation can take less than a minute. And I do believe that it is a nice approach to security and to enabling, uh, to making sure that you as a service provider just have some room to breathe and have some time to actually think and update and do the proper work that you would like to do and outsource all the tedious manual tasks to the AI. After all, as I said multiple times today, the agent is already installed. It might do some good for you anyway. So, that's pretty much it from my side. Could you please tell me if there are any questions, concerns, anything like that? Maybe a different topic that I didn't cover. Um, yeah, I just realized that I'm pretty much closing it as my usual demo. So, um, anyway, is there anything else you would like to know from my side?
That was really great, and I'm really inviting other people to participate and try to use your presence on today's session. Nobody? Okay.
I mean,
No,
I
no,
could
no,
have
it's
dumped
all
even
fine.
more info, so it's
We
fine.
no, everything is yeah. Um, but that's definitely it's a vector of attacks today is really amazing, and even ChatGPT and tools like that could be maybe abused that direction. What do you think?
Exactly. It's in fact we are using ChatGPT ourselves, but not to attack anybody, only in testing purposes and to to work on some parts of marketing and training materials. And I mean, we are using it to generate internal content. I just don't even want to imagine what other people are using it for. It's the issue here is that hacking and attacking before was required a lot more expertise. Right now, like every guy from a school can do it. I mean, even I could hack somebody and I have zero experience in it. I would just need to use a neural network for it and I would be done. And like this lead directly leads to an increase in quantity of attacks, not necessarily quality, but quantity. And due to this, uh, if we use the same tried and true methods of individually responding to every attack and doing everything manually, we're just going to end up overwhelmed and we will miss a really serious security hole that will lead to a downfall of a customer or a system. So that's why I do believe that, of course, malicious actors are using AI. And if we don't do it, if we don't leverage the tools that are available to everybody, we as security people, as service providers, we are going to get left behind. And this is not something that should be done in a security field, especially the one that evolves so quickly.
Yeah, yeah. It's Earth is spinning faster and faster. I would say to that, and one aspect also important in this moment is that state regulations, schools take a part of and start more intensively and differently teach young generation to aware of modern world. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, but we are going to philosophy now. So that was really great. Thank you a lot on your presentation, and you can stay with us. I will just try to remind people on our next
Um,
presenter.
I'm sorry, I just wanted to quickly hop in. There was a question in chat that I missed
Huh.
that asks which OS are covered with Acronis CDR. So currently, that is a very nice question that I do believe I completely missed upon. It is currently supported for Windows. We are going to add Mac OS support later this year, and I believe And I believe that Linux support is coming sometime later in the future. As you understand, Linux is a very vast family of different operating systems, so it's a bit harder to devise a universal solution. So yeah, that was it. And I also want to point out that something that I still see I have 2 minutes, so let me just
Of
point
course.
another thing. Yeah, speaking of different operating systems support and the ways you can implement it, and like customers that might want to use it. Honestly, it's the same as with backup or antivirus. Like, who is going to use it? Probably everyone. I mean, whoever has enough resources to dedicate to it should be using it because, as we discussed in the beginning, unfortunately, everybody is going to get attacked, and it's so we always hear about like large companies being hacked, but just imagine if a large company got half of their system encrypted, a smaller mom and pop shop that uses an antivirus with outdated signatures. I mean, it's a miracle that they're still standing. So, in my opinion, such technology should be used everywhere, preferably Acronis. But it's up for you to decide. If and like wink, wink, nudge, nudge. So yeah. All right. Gonna go on mute. But in case you need me, I'll be here. Thank you very
Great.
much.
Great. Thank you once more. It was really nice having you